So what we're looking at here is a Jesel shaft mount rocker arm. This one's a little older. The new ones are a little bit different design. This is a 1.7 ratio. As a good maintenance, after a while, you should change the bearing that's inside of this. One of mine, the shell had cracked and it was getting gritty and really tight. So I'm going to show you today some ways you can do it in your garage. All right, so what we're looking at here is the tools that I'm using. There's also a vise that I'll be using the press the bearing out and press the new one in. The screwdriver is going to be so you can get this ring, a little bit out and shove it in. This is the new bearing that you put in. I got these from Summit Racing. I also got extra of these just in case I bend it. So the socket, what I'm going to do is after I get the ring out, this will be where I'll catch the other bearing in so I can press it in the vise. And this one right here, and this is a 1/2 inch. I use this end to press in on the bearing, and it's almost about the right size. The ring pliers to get it out, really thin, small holes. So assembly lube, before I put the new one in, I put assembly lube around inside and here everywhere. Here's a quick tip. So when you press the new bearing in, you're going to find that there's no actual stop. You got to figure that out. All right, since there's no actual stop when you press these bearings back in, you got to figure out a way to, and there's maybe a logical way if Jesel would do it. Unfortunately, they won't do this if it's 10 years old or more. So what I've came up with is I measured what the baseline is. So this distance right here, and I'll just take off one of these rings. That way this never changes. And then when I press it back in, I'll push this down and I'll check it. And that's how I know if I need to go a little bit more. All right, so before we move on to the vise, let's get this ring out. Now, all right, so I found a quick trick. So if you end up pulling apart the ring and you push in at the same time, it pushes it out, and then it goes flying. All right, so in comparison with these rings, this is the one that came out, and this is the one that, so there is some thickness. Looks like this one's a lot more beefier, so I'm glad I did opt to get new ones. I left this other one in there. You could probably just change it with the new one that you get. I'll end up lubing all this, and I'll lube it inside there before I push this back in. But it will go in pretty easy. So there's no, and there's no grittiness right now. But what happened on the other one is it cracked inside here, and that's what was basically grabbing on when it was trying to rock. And they said it's a prone way to break. Quick example here of what I'm going to be doing is I'll put this in the vise. I'll take this one again, not the open side, this side fits in there perfect, and then I'll press it in, and it takes a lot of pressure. Go do that. All right, so this is the one that broke. I took all the needle bearings out, but it chipped right in there. And then when I ended up just taking it apart, it broke apart. But this side looked good, and it was just this one side. There was no heat or anything. Maybe it got a little bit of piece of garbage. What I think is a little bit of oil got in the push rod, or I'm sorry, an RTV got in the push rod. Maybe restricted some flow, and then it got hot, and then maybe that's what got some pressure and burst out. And it's wear and tear from years of just use and abuse. All right, I have in the press the socket on the bearing. It fits perfect. The other side is just so it can catch the bearing when it comes through. I'll probably adjust it a couple different times, but I have this huge bar that I put on my vise, and it literally takes a lot of pressure. to get it going. And once it starts moving, it's good. But until then, it's... Alright, this is gonna... And there it goes flying. Right, so this is the one I got out. Inspecting it, doesn't look bad. I feel a little bit of grittiness on the outside. It could have been from taking it off from the socket. That's what I'm sure. It's probably the socket pressing up against it because it was a little bit stuck. But heat-wise, it doesn't look bad, but it's still good to change it out. Inspecting the rocker arm. I don't see any heat or anything. This little blemish is from prior. It's not from me doing this. Other than that, though, it looks pretty good. So let's get it ready. All right, so I'm gonna put some assembly lube. I'll end up lubing it all in here and in the bearing. Everywhere I think could help. You know, the transition of adding the new bearing in. I'll get that done, and then I'll put it in the vise, and we'll show you how to install. So I put some paper towels down. I have these copper little things that go over the jaws. That way it doesn't scratch it up or anything. To get it started, before I do the socket, I'm just gonna press it again or get it close, and then I'll end up adding the socket. That way there's no chance of slipping. All right, I got it lined up. I got it pretty close. Now we're gonna have to do a little bit more with the sockets. I'll set them up. All right. So this is gonna be a little bit of trial and error with measuring once you get it close. Felt a little pop, and I think it might have went. Let's go check it out. All right, so what I'm measuring at, and it's pretty close. Just right on the end. I already pre-measured it, so it's the same there. And then on the other side, it's looking like it probably could go. Oops, I was pushing in. So that's about the same. All right, I got the rocker back here, and you just slide it in, and the screwdriver will help you just kind of pry it. And then after this, I'm going to bathe it in some oil and let it soak for a while before I install it, just to get everything lubed up. And there you go. All right, so that's how you change the bearing on the Jesel rockers. All right, have a good one.